Wherever you are, choosing to continue the connection while just sitting and being still with them, or offering your words of gratitude now and bringing in some writing, drawing, remembering this moment. During this time that we are gathered, you'd like to, that we're writing, you'd like to go to the restroom, replenish your water, stretch, feel free to do so. Take care of yourself the best that you know how in this moment. Be with you very soon.
Couple more minutes. Opening up the space for you to share. How is this connection? Have you met them before? Is there a story they're telling you again? You have a fire going, remembering to continue to feed them.
Hi. But hopefully you can hear me. I loved connecting with Lemon Balm.
Is it just me, or can anyone else hear them?
Okay. Maybe I'll pause and I'll move closer to my router and let someone else start first.
We can hear you now.
Okay. I had an amazing journey with Lemon Balm. As soon as I smelled them, yeah, just like they smelled so sweet and so fresh and inviting. And I really loved the invitation to bring them down to above our belly button. That's actually a place that I had surgery a few years ago, and so I do have like some tightness there. And I felt like, yeah, that just like brought warmth there and reminded me to like open up that space. And as soon as I did, like my back started like cracked a few times. And there was just some release there. And so that felt really great. And then when I was drinking lemon balm, all these memories came back of like really relaxing places that I've been where I've met them before. I was picturing like a field with some like chairs there that I think must have been from maybe my memory or maybe something else. But just like a really restful place. And then thinking about a couple places I've encountered them during quarantine at a garden in Chelsea and also the nature center outside of Boston, where I've seen them growing in abundance and like felt really connected to them. And then was also thinking about this retreat center called the Packard Manse that I found that I went to when I first came back when I moved back to Massachusetts, the Boston area. That has, it's kind of a strange place, as retreat centers often are. But the place where I parked my car is just like filled with lemon balm. And so like when I opened the door, the smell of them was like all around me. And as I'm leaving here now, I'm just realizing that land, I've like done a lot of growing there. And yeah, it was just like really good to remember that space. And like, I think I'm feeling drawn to like want to return to that land before I leave here and just like give some of my offerings back there. Yeah.
Well, I feel like I want to take a nap. Funny, we were talking about sleep, and I was like, and if you ever want to shut up a Gemini, maybe lemon balm is it, because my mind was like, brought me back. I don't know. I felt like a little fish just in the water, just floating, and it was super. They were super soothing, and I just want to sleep. I don't know. I feel like I took a 40-minute nap, and I'm good now. So maybe this is what I needed. So thanks.
I felt very cooled by them. I don't know if it's because I'm outside or I just had like some spicy dal that I made before this, but I felt like a lot of coolness in my belly. And then after I finished, I didn't have that big of a cup. And so after I finished, I was kind of looking at the leaves and I took the leaves and I like put them where my bug bites are. I just felt like, I was like, this is cooling and my bug bites are itchy. And so I just like rubbed it on my ankles and like wherever I'm having bug bites. And it felt so nice and the breeze came over it. So I'm feeling like a lot of coolness from this plant ancestor.
Let's see. I always have a hard time describing my connections with the ancestors. Similar to Michelle, I am feeling sleepy. I kind of felt catatonic, like it just kind of clunked, got kind of heavy. And kind of like the image in my head was as I was sitting, I felt like a turnip. I don't know, like suddenly just felt just like sitting. And how the bomb kind of entered my body and traveled through. I felt them go down my throat, down my neck, and I just felt them settle into like where my belly fat kind of folds over my like underwear like lining. I don't know. This is what I just felt that, and it kept happening. So these are the messages I have, and I just wanted to share.
The first thing that I thought about was like the taste of meat. Like I tasted these like chicken kebabs that I grew up eating that are like very lemony. But then I tasted blood. And I couldn't shake that. Like I just really kept tasting blood, like this like sharp like saltiness. But it wasn't disturbing. It actually reminded me of like when I was little, if I like bit my tongue or I like had a cut, I would like lick it and like taste the blood. And it was like, you know, kids do that sometimes. But there was something like innocent about it, like discovery of like my body, like this like sense of childhood wonder. And I actually felt really energized. I felt like playful. So this is a Gemini who didn't shut up with lemon balm. I don't know. It made me like tingly and feeling like really active.
I'd like to share. Yeah, I feel like lemon balm for me feels like summer. I get like two kind of vibes from them. Like the first one is when it's really hot and all you can really do is sleep or be very slow. And I feel that in the winter when I take them, I'll feel like really hot and like slow and sluggish, which helps me fall asleep. But then similar Afa, it has like a playful like remembrance for me. Like I always think of kids playing and just like running around in like the garden. So it has like those two kind of like differing energies, but like one is like more physically how it feels and the other is like the spirit feels very playful, but the effect is like I want to just go to sleep and take it real slow. And also I drank them, I had a little bit of a belly ache, and when I drank them they like immediately brought up gas from my belly and I burped like 5 times. So that felt great because now my belly doesn't hurt anymore.
Yeah, I also had some triggers of my childhood, and I think partially it's because my mom loves lemon tea. Like, I think if she was on a desert island and it was like you can only bring one thing, she'd probably bring lemon tea. And I've like always never had a taste for it at all. So like I'll go home and I'll try it. I'm like, oh right, I still don't like that. But it just brought me back to like these years of developmental childhood when you're thinking about like, oh, this person likes something but I don't, right? And like everybody's different and it's okay that you don't like the same things, and like those developmental stages as a kid. But also the community that I've been staying on, there are 3 kids here and I've been here for a month and I've never spent that much time with children, and they're great and whimsical, and sometimes they get a little snippy, right? And like, so I've been talking with my parents about like what I was like as a kid and how did I develop and like my relationship with children. And so yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that youthful energy lately, and it was cool to be brought back like immediately to my mom's house in the summer. Like, I'm not in California in 2020 anymore. Like, it's 1994 in Pennsylvania. So, and also just like generally really light and refreshing and settled like right at the top of my stomach, but not in like a blocked way, but in more of a clearing way, and that's where it's like decided to make its nest to open up.
I had I had sort of this interesting, I felt like this was, oh, Sochi, were you gonna okay. um I had sort of this interesting like it was sort of a thought, which a lot of times I feel our meditations more in my body or more in feelings. But I had a thought and I was kind of ignoring it, but then I was thinking maybe I sometimes I feel like I try to ignore thoughts because I think that's like my more like my colonized mind, or but I don't know. But anyway, I wanted to share it, which was that I had this thought of kind of like, oh, like I think just, folks are moving around and in nature, and sometimes when I'm in city especially, I'm like, I need to leave, like I need to go, I need to be alone. And then I had this kind of or like this other thought that came that was like, and it's also so brave, like I need to be brave. And there was this sort of counter thought that's like, it's so brave to like also to love and like be in space and to love those who may leave, right? Because we all might leave. anytime. And it was just this sort of, it almost felt like lemon balm was kind of holding this like this fear in me that was like, that's like, which we spoke to earlier, of like, you know, leave, that like staying, that leaving is brave, that staying is brave, loving is brave. So I had kind of that thought arise. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your shares. I adore this part of our connection. Getting to talk plants, just it feeds me. It inspires me again. It brings me back to the first moment that I hung out with the plant, and I love it because it feels very tender. It's like sharing, being in this polyamorous fest, and I get to share all my lovers with you. I think it's awesome. Great practice at surrendering. And so we'll talk a little bit about them. Thank you for your patience on like the student portal-y things not being up and et cetera, et cetera. Y'all, I haven't had internet. I've been in ceremony nonstop. I'm moving nonstop, and then I don't have internet here on the land. It's a blessing, but also means I'm behind on 3 to 4 weeks of like techie things. It's gonna be wild. It's a wild couple of days. But yeah, that's what happened. So their government name, aka their botanical name, Melissa officinalis. Mexico, I grew up with them, just knowing them as Melissa. That's part of their botanical name. They are in the mint family. We commonly know them as lemon balm. In the plant profile, I include some of the names in Igbo and in Yoruba, because you can find them in those lemon balm is used in those practices too. And so I would like for you to know like the names of the practices for them within those practices, so you know how to find them. Toronjil, also in Spanish, I've known them as toronjil. And someone yeah, I don't know what I was going to say. That escaped me. It's okay. We're mainly working with the leaves, the aerial parts. Aerial parts are above ground parts. And we're generally harvesting their leaves when they are green and vibrant and before they give off their white flowers. I think it's fine to work with them once they give off their white flowers. Personally, I find them to be the most potent at that, like most potent without their flowers for versatile, like tinctures and honeys and elixirs. Yeah, my favorite way to work with lemon balm, definitely. I mean, any plant really is a tea and an infusion, a tisane. I'm really sensitive. I'm becoming more sensitive to alcohol the more I deepen in my spiritual path. And so working with plants as infusions has been really important, and honeys has been really important. When I was a public school educator, I had lemon balm tea in my classroom going all day long for the kiddos. The stuff they said, I'll talk a little bit more about the connection to them and youth. But if you want to make medicine with them before they flower, and if possible. So the people in the plant, right? Some of the ethnobotany with the plant. So lemon balm's herbal use dates back over 2,000 years ago, first documented in ancient Greek and Roman texts. The word Melissa or Melissa means bee. They have one of their names is like the bee plant, bee balm, because the plants, the bees really like it. Bee balm is a tricky name though to call lemon balm, because there's a bee balm that grows mostly wildly in farmlands and agricultural lands. It's a monrada variety. They are spicy, like not like spicy like cinnamon, but like spicy spiritually. They're very connecting to the sensuality. Their flower has like many tongues for like, I don't know, 100 colibri to come into them. Like it's a very erogenous situation happening in there. So I would just be careful calling them bee balm, because if you're around other herbalists, you might think it's that plant. This magic ancestor in Persian medicine, lemon balm has been a remedy for toothaches. Also has been added to wine and used to treat bites of the scorpion and dog variety. The Cherokee Nation works with lemon balm for the common cold, fevers, but also intense fevers like typhus fevers and chills. Other native tribes, including the Costanoan, work with Melissa as a decoction, right? It's actually an infusion. That's incorrect. The word decoction is not proper there. To prepare them for infants who are experiencing colic. So little babies that are born and just can't stop crying, right? And stomach aches. And colic, I spiritually, I understand it as like, I'm pissed you took me out of my womb and the only home that I knew was safe, and you brought me out here and everyone's energetic fields are all over me. I think we get colicky too as adults. We don't talk about it in that way. I think there's a lot more like stigmatized words we use about it, like tantrums, or like you don't have it together, or like you're having a fit, or whatever. But like I get colicky all the time. In Europe, folks have worked with lemon balm in the mundane life, like with much frequency, to clean floors. I know in some voodoo traditions it's also common now. So to freshen up the floors, and oils to polish furniture, added to bouquets of flowers, when you were courting someone, cute things like that. Magically, the plant is all the magic shit that you all identified, in soothing of the soul. They're known in some traditions as the elixir of life. There's something about their sweetness that helps us. Elixirs there's like a couple of other elixirs of life that we're going to be talking about. They're from different traditions, so everyone has their own, right? I think we're fascinated, the human beings are fascinated by sweetness. And that's why so many, soda companies and artificial producers make so much money off of us, because there's something that physiological that sweetness triggers inside of our body. Our endorphins get triggered with them, but also our joy gets triggered with them. And so the elixir of life makes sense for me. Generally, I feel more energy and gentle joy when I work with lemon balm. How I experience them, actually, I want to say this. How I experience them is usually a part of the kind of joy/rest I'm needing. So lemon balm can knock you out for sure. Lemon balm can also revitalize you and give you energy. It's one or the other extreme. And to me, it honestly depends on where you are and what you're needing in that moment. So Michelle talked a lot about insomnia and not being able to sleep, right? So you wanting to sleep now made a lot of sense to me. And Afra, you talking about you having energy now, like also made a lot of sense to me. I'm experiencing the energy, but earlier today I worked with them and I just felt really sleepy, and I didn't have very good sleep last night. I'm living on this land and it's beautiful, and I haven't done the protection work that I do because I've been busy trying to get water into my house because I stink, and like dishes and like drinking water. But I realized that my sleep time is when all my nervousness comes in. The fact that I did the protection work, I start to get nervous at night and feel like someone's kind of like at me or something. But like, it's not easy to get me. I can hear you coming. I'll see your light. I'll hear you breathing. Like, I understand the sounds of where I am. If you're not a freaking coyote or a deer eating the apple, like, I know it's a human, right? And I'm gonna have my light right on. But anyways, they have the capacity to raise their energy, and they balance dual energy, right? So you're beginning to see that dichotomy of or the duality, maybe not dichotomy. And dualities aren't binaries, because what's dual changes, can change, and there are degrees of it. I find them to keep me, they help me seek joy, and they help me experience joy in the mundane. See the joy that we miss. There's so much beauty around us. Even in colonial ass cities, I lived in 10 years in a very colonial segregated city, and there's so much beauty there still. And lemon balm is one of those plants that really wants to help you see that around you. They enliven the child is something that has come to me over and over. They're really they have a very strong affinity to children. They're one of those gentle plants that anyone can work with. Elders, folks with disabilities, like this is like an all-inclusive, all-loving, magical sweet plant that connects to that child. We're working with them this month because we're gonna be connecting to our solar plexus, which is the site of our power. And to me, the site of our power is rooted in our child. And we'll talk a little bit more about that this month. I find them to connect me also with reminder to like nurture my home and my relationships. Because of that joy, I think that they're just trying to bring ease and joy to all of my relationships. So when I'm working with Lemon Balm, I often have like thoughts of people, or I'm like, oh, I haven't given this homie a tug, or like, oh, I actually haven't said thank you for that thing. You know, it really reminds me. So when I write letters to my friends, or like I'm trying to get into that giving mood when I'm just spent, I like to work with Lemon Balm to be like, yeah, I have a little more joy to give, you know, doesn't, and it not coming from a space of resentment, but coming from a space of that joy, which children have innately because they're love, they're bundles of love, right? A child that's like doesn't have that anymore, or like you're like, oh my gosh, you know, I've met some children. I've been a teacher for what, for like, you know, some 7 years, and I'm like, yo, what happened? You know, what happened? And then I learned what happened. You know, they've had a really hard situation at home, you know, and a hard situation doesn't have to be traumatic. It could just be like a parent that's a helicopter parent and like is trying to protect them from everything, including breathing. And so Lemon Balm has been really supportive in softening those edges that even young people get. One other thing I want to name about them spiritually is I find them to be connected with our emotional body. And when that happens, they're connected to our sacred femininity, their sacred feminine, which is really close to being connected to our intuition. So there's a lot of sweetness and magic for you all there. In the Mexicayo, my native tradition, we associate Lemon Balm with the moon, the representation of the moon, xinachtli, as well. And also the keepers of the ocean. So for the Yoruban practitioners, that's Yamaya. We began the circle to people, you know, Jeannie talking about water, wanting to be in water, you know. And there's some things y'all said in circle where I was like, oh yeah, we're excited to be working with Lemon Balm. Oh, and the last spiritual thing I'll name about Lemon Balm, looping back to rage and anger, is they are one of the meridians that they in Chinese traditional medicine, but also in curanderismo in Mexico that I know of, that they're connected to the bladder, liver, and kidneys. And so what I know about the liver spiritually is that is where bile builds up. Bile builds up in the kidney. And so bile is a production of emotions that are processed, expressed, witnessed, and released. So we all are carrying a lot of bile, right? Black bile, we're all carrying it. We all live in colonial, you know, in post-colonial America, you know, during a pretty fierce temporality of a systemic attack on Black, Native, immigrant lives right now, Asian lives right now. It's a systemic. It was systemic before, right? But this is like super strategic and in your face, and people aren't hiding right now what's happening, right? We haven't seen the proportion of deaths, the lives that cops have taken this year. We haven't seen that number since the 1960s, when it was also systemic, you know, because Black movement was taking deep root here, and people were mad, very mad. They had to defend their colonial right to their freedom because they can't be free if other people are free, right? And so we have a lot of bile that gets built up, anger, the words that we don't get to say, the conversations we don't get to have. I've had a parent who's transitioned, you know, to the other world, and there's a lot of conversations we didn't get to have. And so what I'll say is that Lemon Balm, working with them spiritually, can support with identifying what that bile is about, easing it, and also physically helping you to pass it. So you might notice, you know, as you're working with them, like the balance of like, there's joy and beauty and sometimes rest. And then you'll think about that one moment that felt sore. And I pray that it's a moment that feels sore, but that you feel healing in, and that you know exactly what to do when you feel that moment. Whether it's something you need to hold yourself accountable, responsible for, or you need to hold someone else responsible for, that you do it in a way that is safe and gentle to you. And that might be writing a letter. That might be screaming it out into a hole, literally dig a hole, yell it at a hole if you can't yell it at the person, because, you know, harm and violence and things like that, important to, you know, not cause harm. And so wanted to name that. And so physically, Western herbalism classifies them as a nervous system tonic and relaxant. So caring for our nervous system, and tonics are plants that support the general health, right? The general health of that nervous system. can be supportive in bringing back the balance. They're a digestive stimulant and a carminative. So digestive stimulant is a plant that stimulates your digestive system. And a carminative is a plant that gets you farting. If anyone has farted or has dishes doing that, they will support you with that. They can be a sedative. So helping to really sedate your body and your mind, necessary. Let me get an open light in here. Yeah. Then they also are diaphoretic. They can bring out sweat through your pores. My nose, I sweat from my nose a lot. That's what's happening now. And they're cardiotonic, so they're also supportive to the heart. So today I'm reading a little bit of the Western defining some of these words. Again, I want us to keep practice. If that's your route, you're like, I want to know all the realms of how to talk about herbal medicine. We have to also learn some of these Western terms because they're shorthands. They're shorthands for these longer definitions that I'm sort of naming to you right now. I find them to ease the mind. I find them to settle my anxiety. I find them to support me with depression. Wintertime is the time that I ally. Winter and the summer, actually, two of the times that I ally with lemon balm on the daily. Because I'm depressed in both of the seasons intensely. They promote brain function, strengthening our resistance to stress and improving cognitive function as well. I found them to improve cognitive function in folks who are living with Alzheimer's, dementia, and folks who live with hyperactivity too in the mind. They're supported to the heart and the circulatory system, cardiotonic, I mentioned that. And they can bring digestive balance when you have upset stomachs, knots in your tummy, a lot of farting too. It can help bring that or take that away. Supporting with nausea, irritable bowel syndrome as well. And I find them to be really gentle on my cramps. And Anju, they are a wound healer. They're a skin healer. And yeah, they are a coolant. They want to cool down your skin for sure. They can work also as a bug repellent, right? So this time of the year where the bugs are out and we want to be a little more natural and not throw D on ourselves, and give ourselves an early onset of cancer, we can mix lemon balm and citronella. And if there are other citrusy homies that you're like, that one, lemongrass. Essential oils, I do something between like 10 and 13 of each of them into like a little glass spray bottle into water. And I add the last little bit, like a last 1/8 to 1/6 of the bottle with alcohol to preserve it. And I shake it every time I use it. And buggies, they do other things, they leave me. This is one of my favorite plant ancestors because they remind me of my child, the child that I didn't get to be. And instead of feeling anger that I didn't get to be that child, I feel actually a lot of joy because she feels alive in that moment. It doesn't last very long, but the prayer is that it lasts a little longer each time. And so in the herbs and comrade section, I include one of my favorite herb garden punches recipes. It's just so good. With champagne in it or like a bubbly drink. I hope you check it out and you try it. And lemon balm loves to be in your food, so do that. Eat it all the time as much as you can because you won't regret it. It'll be amazing. And so this month we're connecting with the solar plexus. And we have some moments. Yeah, I'm freezing. I'm sorry, y'all. Am I still freezing? No, okay.
No.
Thank you. I hope Mercury and I will cooperate with each other. I think it's also this, like, I haven't been on anything device, online, social media for like really 3 weeks. And so the internet's like, I don't know, we can handle all of your energy. So we're trying to get back in relationship. So we're connecting with the solar plexus this month. And again, just because we've moved on doesn't mean you move on. You're welcome to keep playing and connecting with lessons and questions that have come through before. You're encouraged to do that. We're offering a new gang of ancestors to support you through that. A whole new gang of questions, and we're going to keep connecting about this year, so it's okay. So I'd like to move into a brief connection with this space. So we can have a shared connection with the solar plexus. So bring your body to however they need to go, however they need to be. If your posture can emphasize your belly or can like offer love to your belly, that would be awesome. So postures that help with that could be like just sitting back and hands on your belly. Postures that help with that could also be like laying on your back and putting a pillow right under your hips, so your belly gets a little bit of your lower back gets support and allows your organs to like figure themselves out. Or it could be like a moving belly situation where you're like literally undulating, or like, what do you call this? I don't know. Making circles with your belly. Making circles with your belly. You got that blessing herb and they're not on, feeling free to do that. If you haven't sipped water in a while, encourage you to do that. Or if you're still sipping on your lemon balm, feeling free to do that. Yeah, Mercury and I have some situation to take care of. Kind of get through the nose, out to the mouth, whatever your outhale needs to be. If it needs to be with raspberries, feeling free to do that. If your outhale needs to be more contained or held, feeling free to do that too. Inhaling in, exhaling out. Whether your eyes are closed or softened, paying attention to our belly space. It feels safe and comfortable, touching our bellies, playing with our navel, noticing their shape, noticing how they feel, their elasticity on our hands. If you are on the verge of needing to urinate, maybe not pushing or playing too hard. We won't be here long, so we'll take care of that need soon, don't worry. Inhaling in and exhaling. Inhaling in, exhaling. Inhaling in this time, a yellow. Notice what kind, the gradient of yellow that comes to you. Is it the yellow of mustard, the yellow of a sunflower, the yellow of a morning sun, high sun, or a setting sun? Breathe in a yellow, a specific yellow with a story, a yellow with a story. It could be a cup you have at home, a pillow. It could be your partner's earrings. Think of a specific yellow. Breathe that yellow into your body, in through that mouth, in through that throat channel, allowing that yellow that has a story to wrap around your heart, allowing that yellow that has a story to wrap around your lungs, allowing that yellow to enter your intestinal tract, which is like 20, 30, 40 feet long. Let it travel inside of you, clearing away anything that doesn't belong there, that just needs to be pushed out, allowing that yellow to enter right behind your navel, just spiraling around your navel, allowing that yellow to settle in your tummy. Breathing into your tummy space, allowing your tummy to expand with each inhale and exhale. The yellow's still there, allowing with each breath that yellow to get a little brighter than the last hue it was, or shininess that it was, allowing it to radiate out of you each time you breathe in. It's your yellow feeding you, clearing you, and you breathe out and it emits out. It's our yellow. allowing that yellow to bring the warmth of a sun or the warmth of a fire around, like being around a campfire or a warm, warm day. Allowing that yellow to bring you the warmth of a day. You know, let it be a specific day. Like it is right now, that yellow. It is not nighttime, it is daytime. We're breathing in that yellow. We're breathing in that warmth, that fire, or that sun energy. And it is in this moment that we can do anything. Our inner child that is now an adult, whatever that means, gets to do anything in this moment. Anything, anything, anything in this moment. What is that one thing that you're doing? Enter that world with that mischief of you're doing that thing. Oh, you've been thinking about doing that thing and you're doing it right now. Maybe it's eating that ice cream that you were supposed to be eating because you're lactose intolerant or lactose resistant, or maybe it's having that beverage. Maybe it's having that SpongeBob popsicle with the bubblegum eyes that you know is not good for you, but you're like, I don't care, it's so good. With that yellow, harness that joy, harness that mischief, harness that action, of following a desire, of alchemizing of your reality, of doing that one thing that gives you so much joy. And not joy because it's instant or like ridiculous. That joy because it's yours, because it's always been yours inside of you in that yellow. Feel that yellow, feel that moment radiate from your cheeks, your face, offer that moment a smile if you can. No one's looking at you. Offer that smile. Allowing that joy and that smile to radiate into your throat and clear out anything you haven't gotten to say, any llanto, any sadness that you haven't gotten to like out of you. Let it clear it, let it soften it. Allowing that joy and that smile and that yellow to enter your heart. Maybe you place your hand on your heart and one on your navel, remembering this is a place of joy. This is a place of joyful creation, a playful creation, a powerful creation. Yes, all of that exists in one. Allow that joy and that yellow radiate back into your belly to find its home, to spiral back in its home, in its originating space. Inhaling in and out. Manipura, the city of gems. This is where our true power lives. Power doesn't live in the hands of Wall Streeters. Power lives here, in this belly, in this navel. This navel connects you to your mother's mothers, and their mother's mother, and their mother's mother, and their mother's mother. This navel connects you to our original form, to our original mother, our ancient one. This is the energetic center of our energy, where we literally produce heat, where we literally harness the sun on earth in our bellies. And the sun on earth is power. The sun on earth generates life and energy and electricity. This is the site of our sun. This is the site of our warrior. A warrior that has a cause, a rebel that has a cause. It's joy. It's creation. It's alchemizing our reality. This is where our passion of the sacral and the root, our stability of the root chakra, come together to alchemize our deepest desires into reality. This, from that child's spirit, from that joy, from that golden yellow, this is where we materialize our reality. Desire is beautiful. Our foundation is beautiful. But without this yellow, this smile, this joy, the mischief, power isn't possible.